Hello everyone, just an update. The videos you've watched or are about to watch were recorded in 2014 prior to the court trial I had with Mr. Cobb and all the related pre-hearings that we had that I was forced to call because he kept breaching orders. But anyway, at that hearing, you know that from the story that Cobb asked me to invoice him for all the infrastructure that he'd already had. As after the event, which he emailed me to say everybody would get paid, he never paid anyone. And when they were asking for the money, his response was, well, my company has no agreement with you. You had an agreement with Dave Smith, go back to him. Bearing in mind he'd had all the gate receipts, all the income from it. And didn't he not post once, well he did post once, that I had no accountability, no responsibility for the event whatsoever. So how is it then, Mr. Cobb, that you did not pay any of the debt even though you had all the money, had the audacity to, when I did take you to court at your request for an invoice that you never paid, you had the audacity to do a counterclaim for $33,000. What was that for? I mean, what was that for? But anyway, that's what forced the trial. The trial, it was brought out that you were responsible as you'd had all the income. However, for my part, when the bar company refused to pay you and they would only pay me at your request again, because you were on the phone on the hands-free conference with Matt Smith, myself, Angela James was in the background as well, hearing all this going on. Paul said to me that he would pay me because he didn't know you. Your response to Paul was, that's fine, as long as we get the money, it doesn't matter, I'll just invoice Dave for the balance. So that was quite done, that was simple. The balance was, out of the 22 came the 17. Or out of the 20 came the 17, obviously plus VAT. So we got a situation there that Paul Cobb invoiced me for the balance as he said he would and as we agreed. And hey ho, everything was going fine, but I was concerned, because we were just 2 weeks out when all that happened, and I was concerned that we weren't going to be able to pay for all the infrastructure. Obviously, I needed to pay the bands like the Hoosiers and all that, because otherwise they weren't going to come. So there was concern there, and my email back from you, Paul, was, or text, there's more than enough money to pay everyone. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be paying Barry on Friday, Steve on Saturday, blah 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 on Sunday, and all Monday's income will go towards next year's event. Well, I was happy with that response. There was no reason for me to doubt that. But of course then the event came and went and you didn't pay it. You refused to pay anyone and plonked it all on me. I fell into the trap of invoicing your limited company because you asked me to, because I thought it was the only way these people are going to get paid. So I did that. I invoiced you. You'd already claimed the VAT back from the original invoices. I'm invoicing you again for the same invoices or for the same items, and you've got another big VAT claim back. So you're in the money. Not only have you had all the income, you've had all the purchase VAT as well, twice. Bloody good money, isn't it, for nothing? So, and if people watching this, we're talking about the 10,000 quid mark in VAT, in total. So quite a lot. But anyway, the judge said to me at the hearing that when I got that money from the bar company, I should have given it straight to Cobb to divvy out, as he was responsible for all the debt. And I said, well, that's true, Your Honour, but we were 2 weeks out and Mr. Cobb was happy with the agreement and the arrangement and invoiced me for the balance, which he said he would do. He says, yes, I'm sure he did, and that is absolutely correct. He said, but you can't evidence that, and he's denying it. So you're going to have to pay it him back. But Mr. Cobb, out of that 20,000 from the bar company, you've got to pay the bills, and Mr. Newby, his £7,500 has to come out of that ahead of anything else. And Cobb agreed to that, and because I was dumbfounded, I didn't say anything. I was there, I wasn't represented, I was there on my own, not feeling in the best of shape, but there you are, because I just didn't expect it. Off we went, and then he appealed. He appealed right at the last minute, right at the last day that you could possibly appeal. He appealed, and that was obviously another ploy to catch me with my guard down, which it did. So I thought, well, what's he appealing for? Anyway, we go to court, and the appeal was just simple, that I agree that all the agreements were made on the 13th of January, to which I did. His barrister's response was, well, Gospel Festivals Limited wasn't incorporated till the 21st, so they can't be responsible. And the judge said, quite right. And he sat there laughing at me, because what he'd actually done was pulled off the biggest scam and coup ever, having every penny of income and lumbering me with no income and all the debt, and, to rub salt into the wound, having to pay his costs to boot. Would you believe that? So that smarmy, lying, underhanded individual has shafted me completely, and that was his intention from the outset. And if you want to know, if it's just something that he's just done the first time, then have a look at the Grass Tech Issues UK, and this is people from all over the world going on about how he's ripped them off. He seems to have a pattern, and yet he posts online that I had no accountability. I'm no more accountable than the guy that cleans out the toilets. What was it you wrote? With less shit. So if I had no accountability, Cobb, why is it you never paid anyone? And as far as I'm aware, the agreement to pay me 17,000 plus VAT still stands, doesn't it? Because that invoice has never been raised, because I didn't need to raise the invoice, because I already had the money via the bar company. And you're chasing me through the courts for the 7,500 that I was ordered to pay Barry Newby, that you were ordered to pay out of the 22 in the original order that you didn't appeal against. So the way I look at it is, out of the 22 leaves 15 after Barry Newby's been paid. 15 you've had. And of course we come on to that now with the reason why I had to get you in court, because people in September, I had bailiffs knocking at my door, and they had a writ for 22,000, and I told them at the time it's wrong, and but they said, well, it can't be. What had Cobb had done, and the same he done when he put a charge order on my house, is that when he makes these applications at Portsmouth, he doesn't tell Portsmouth what the actual state of affairs are with any other orders that have come from Winchester, and of course he gets his orders underhandedly and erroneously. So they've come in all good faith with their two writs, as a one that each one was for 10,000 something. So of course we had to go to court, and it was brought up in court that he had no right to do that, absolutely no right, because the order made by Judge Ian Hughes was for 22,000 minus the 15, minus the another 500 quid that he managed to accrue through chasing my bank accounts, and he failed to admit it. So the 15,000 that he's had in cash, I might add, He wants to hide that. No, I've never had that. He wanted to go back to the 22, the original order. Well, because he got caught out. And he had his writs thrown out. His freeze on my bank accounts thrown out. And he was ordered to pay my costs. So he has been beaten for the first time, and and highlighted as being an underhanded shyster. Well, of course, what this means is, he didn't get away with erroneous court orders. But what it means is he's left himself wide open now for a charge of conspiracy to defraud. And that's conspiracy to defraud me from the outset, conspiracy to defraud the courts themselves, and conspiracy to defraud VAT and customs and excise and HMRC. So there are things happening in the background. And what are they doing now, those two? Hiding behind the very, very successful national charity called the Trash Caff, which they've tagged onto, and they call themselves Trash Caff Southern. With all the catering equipment that they've amassed over the last few years from companies that they've bought this stuff from, or say bought it, they've acquired it through their limited companies and simply not paid for it. And if you do a credit search on them, you'll find there's quite a few £1,000s worth of CCJs against him, which, well, not against him, but against his limited companies. And of course he hasn't got to worry about those, has he? But he had chased me through the hills. That's the hypocrite that he is. So Cobb, you're 7,500, or it's a lot less than that now, because you had 5, and you've also had 1,200 taken off, so I think it makes it 6. You're not going to get it. 1, I haven't got it, but 2 is because I've already paid it to Newbie under the original order, and I paid that straight away. It finished me off, but I paid it because Barry had no, he done the work, as you said in your sarcastic email to him. Your look at me, I'm Mr. Cobb, you ain't going to get over me attitude. So I paid him. Barry's been paid, and he's happy, and there's an email to prove that. But you're not going to get another penny out of me. I haven't got anything anyway. I had to sell, and you know this too, all my equipment. And your best mate, Graham Grant, who came to my garage when I was living at St Thomas's Road, and said, "Where's all your gear gone?" I said, "Well, where do you think it's gone?" "I've had to get rid of all my PA equipment to pay my legal fees." "Oh," he said. I did have a van, Black Transit, which I flogged to a good friend of mine to continue this fight after the trials. I have access to that van if I need it, but I don't own it, and I'm sure you already know that anyway. I'm sure you've done all your underhanded searches. Thing is, you are tenacious when it comes to people owing you money, but you're invisible for people that you need to pay. And nothing's changed, has it, Paul? But it will be changing, as I said earlier. So, people, this is the updates really of the videos that you've watched. It puts things into perspective, I hope. And in along my rights to reply, you'll note that Cobb made a statement that I had stolen his mail, and he made a statement in court that I had stolen his mail, and the judge was furious with him on that, as I've already said. But what I did was I went down to where his postbox was at the time, post box, and I videoed me going in through the doors, the first doors into the foyer, and then the second doors were locked, electronic lock, and then I showed a phone on the wall where you got to dial a number to get someone to come to the foyer. And then once I'd got through that door, which I didn't because the guy I spoke to in the foyer, then there's another set of doors which are also locked. And that proves to anybody reading Cobb's statement on his wall, or any other place where he's written it, what I stolen his mail, it shows him again to be the liar that he is. Now, why would he lie? Why was he lying? Why would he say that? Well, quite simply, he was ignoring court paperwork, and the only way that he could get out of it when he turned up at court was to come up with some flimsy excuse that I'd stolen it. Because obviously if he hasn't seen it, then he can't act on it. Oh yeah, he's that low. He's that low. But I don't think 2019 is going to be too successful for them with their eco-freak shops on the front and whatever the shop is along Stoke Road. I don't think the future's going to look bright for those two, because the law is catching up. And Chloe also, one of her companies, I can't remember which one it is, has CCJs against her, but because they don't care, do they? The award-winning entrepreneurs. Award-winning, I wonder who presented those. Oh yeah, it was the Mummy Project, wasn't it? Or some yummy mummies. And who set that up? Oh, wait a minute. That was Chloe, wasn't it, set that up? So, looking at that in all its logic, Chloe sets up this award ceremony, which she gives out awards to other people, but of course she gave an award to herself. So she's awarded herself to boost her own publicity. I don't suppose there's anything wrong with that. It's just sad really that normally it's ability that gets you awards, but like everything in their lives, it's a sham. Even the £50,000 wedding, God knows who paid for that. But anyway, we'll be back with further updates, and we'll keep you posted. See ya.